Welcome in, everybody. This is my latest live broadcast. Today is the 30th of March, 2021. My name is CareyHolzman. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I have so much to get to. I wasn't even sure what to title this video or where to start. So this is going to be sort of a hot mix. Not a hot mess, a hot mix of a couple of things I've got to do. I've got a lot more than a couple of things to do, but I'm going to try and take care of more than one thing in this video. So you can see the parts in front of me. I've got to prep another board, and with this board, this is the one that's going to go in the mini helicopter case. So it's a Z390M Gaming from Gigabyte with a 2 terabyte NVMe Samsung 970 Evo Plus, and I'm going to put the G-Skill RAM in there because you know that case is sort of an open concept case, so you can see right through it, which means I've got to take the RAM out of the Be Quiet case that's sitting down here because you can't see that RAM. I'm going to move it out of the Be Quiet case and into this motherboard. But and then I'll use this Silverstone IceGem 240p liquid cooler. The folks at Silverstone were kind enough to send it to me for review many months ago, and I haven't had any opportunity yet to use it. So that'll be a great fit. It's a smaller cooler for a smaller computer build, and I need something to test it with, obviously, to get everything up and running. So I'll use this Noctua NH-U12S cooler temporarily just to get everything up and running here live on video. And then I'll end up taking it off and then reusing it on another build. I'm also curious how this will perform in cooling the 9900K processor we're going to throw in here. So it should be quite a build. And I've got to get the Be Quiet case up here, but before I pull the RAM on it, I failed to do the Prime 95 test to test the efficiency, the efficacy, the effectiveness of the Be Quiet 360 millimeter cooler. I'm just assuming it's going to be outstanding cooling performance. I shouldn't assume, and I was so excited to be done with it because Mitch and I had done nearly a 5-hour broadcast with the motherboard already prepped that I was anxious to sort of wrap it up and get something to eat. So it didn't occur to me that I missed out doing the Prime 95 heat test. To test the cooler. So we'll do that today. Once that's done, I'll pull the RAM because that RAM is going to go in here, and I need to replace the RAM before I put the Be Quiet computer back on the floor where it is right now with just some regular old RAM that doesn't have RGB to save a few dollars. I've also got a keyboard to review. This keyboard was brought to my attention and it was highly recommended to me, and I thought I would check it out. I don't know the name of it. It's called either the ROYALKLUDGE or the ROYALKLUDGE. I hope it's called kludge because that's a word we use in the industry when you MacGyver something that's not supposed to be. What did you do to that? That shouldn't be working. It's a kludge. So I don't know if it's a kludge or a kludge, but let's start out today's video by taking a look at the keyboard. And of course, saying hello to all of you joining me in the chat room. Welcome in, everybody. All the familiar names, all the familiar faces in blue. With George Z and Catherine Anna Hauserman joining us. We've got Craig Lilly and Jim KJ9N. Kevin Billerbeck, Tom Jackson, as well as Frank Jimmy and Patrick Rusaw, Matthew Groff, Jason Wyrick in the chat room. Did I build a computer for Jason? I think I did. It was a long time ago. I've slept since then. Steven Cicero, didn't I? I think I did. Is it working? Is it still working, Jay? What? Give us an update. Review my work, man. I mean, I'm harsh on reviews. You can be harsh on me. It's good. Because it shouldn't be harsh. It should be, hey, everything's great. But, you know, I can't stop you from saying whatever you're going to say. Let me know. Let other people know. Tom Jackson contributes $7.77. He says, welcome back, Carey. Hey, thank you, Tom. Well, welcome back to you as well. Rick Lakes with a $20 contribution. Thank you very much, Rick. Rick is, like Tom, he's been like in the chat room here regularly on nearly every video and contributing on nearly every video. So What a wonderful and generous person. I appreciate that generosity of both of you. Thank you so much. Did I miss anybody? Was there anybody before that? No, I think I got both of you. And then Angel just contributed $5 and says hello to everybody. Hey, thank you, Angel. Okay, so this keyboard, what's so special about the keyboard? I don't know. Let's find out. And I'll put a link to this in the chat. I'll put a link to it in the video notes. Let's see. In the box, what we have is what appears to be a typewriter style keyboard. What just happened here? Let me just take this out. Set it over here. Now it's not cordless. It's a USB keyboard that's RGB. We've got a little keycap puller tool here, and then that's all that remains in the box. Okay. And I can see that one of the keys fell off, but it should just push back on. Yeah, there's the key that fell off. All right, there's our keyboard, and there's a wrist rest right here. It looks like, I don't know if I normally don't use these wrist rests, but this one goes on a little differently than most. This is the little key that fell off, the escape key. Set that there. Boy, it really kept to its name. It was trying to escape. Let's see if I can figure out how this goes on here. I'm sure the documentation explains it. I think you can just squeeze those. Just checking to see if there's any open slots or anything that will assist me with that. Doesn't appear to be. I think I can just grab one of these and bend it in, maybe, if I don't break it. Let's see, how are you supposed to do this? I think this thing was handled a little rough in shipping. That's what I'm assuming. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with that. I'm gonna cheat, I think. And just take out the 2 screws, because I think that's going to be faster for me. Yeah, there's just 2 screws here, and I think it's meant to be easily removed without having to use any tools, but I think this might be easier on me. So this is the piece that it's going to go in, and it looks like if I can just bend it around that way, and then I can just push the whole thing over. Come on now. Cooperate. Well, there's one thing I can tell you for sure. This shouldn't come out very easily once you put it on. So let me try going the other way since I can see better. I know you guys don't have much of a camera view right now, but give me just a minute. Let me just put this little piece on here. And then you can tell Mitch that he missed a great opportunity to film some close-ups of stuff we've never filmed before. It's okay, it's not Mitch's fault. I didn't invite him. I didn't even know I was going to do this until about 6 minutes ago. And I saw it and I said, oh yeah, I haven't done this yet. Okay. Well. I need a bigger pair of pliers. Oh, you better be shaking now. That's too big. So I have kind of a funny story to share with you. After I was done with yesterday's broadcast, and I talked about considering whether or not I should accept offers from gray market software sellers that want to sponsor my channel, and I've had a number of them reach out. Like, I can't even tell you. There's got to be a half dozen of them anyway, just on that subject alone. And I had an email waiting for me, and it said, "Hey, we're a software seller and we sell discounted Windows and Office keys. Can we sponsor one of your videos?" And I said, well, I mean, I don't normally just do like a one video sponsorship, which is usually done in like monthly type. There, I got that piece on now. Let me bring this up to the camera and I'll show you my handiwork. So what I was trying to do here is there's this spring piece that fits into this hinge, and I was having difficulty getting it aligned properly. And so I just took out the two screws that hold that hinge in. And it looks like the hinge the way that the hinge is designed here, it's almost got to be like completely face down like that to get the arms in it. And then once it's like that, then I can flip it back to how it was. And I don't recall this sliding out. I thought it just went right in there, but now, there it goes. Okay, so I had to just move it to the left. I'll put the two screws back in that. Now here's the front of the keyboard with the key missing on it, which I'm just gonna push right back on. You can see it's typewriter style keys. Sounds mechanical. I think it's mechanical. Pretty soft touch. They're not very resistant, so that's nice. I prefer that. And then I will screw this back down. So this company reaches out and they said, we'd like to sponsor one of your videos. What would you charge us? And I said, well, I don't normally, just do like one video sponsorship. And, if we weren't talking about software or something or whatever, I like to work on commission, because I'd hate to charge you more than you make, because that wouldn't make sense and you probably won't come back again. But I'd hate to be taken advantage of and charge you too little for you to just, rake in all the money and then not share it with me. So what's your offer? And they said, well, we just want a price from you. So I said, well, again, this isn't really something I have a price for. It's nothing I typically do. I've never had an offer like that. Typically we would go maybe 3 months and we could, work something out like that. And they said, well, what if we just asked you to put a link in the video notes of your video? And like, you want me to put a link with a coupon code in the video notes of one video? They said, yeah, just one video. And I said, well, for how much? And they said, how's $15 sound? I said, $15? I can't buy a pizza for $15. Is this a joke? You've got to be kidding me, right? $15. I said, you're wasting my time. This is ridiculous. Here I am trying to be thoughtful and considerate of you, and you're not giving me any thought or consideration. So, I don't know. They're selling gray market keys, so it seems like they're gray market people. They didn't seem to have any qualms about trying to take advantage of me. So I don't know how they probably feel about they're customers, right? I would think maybe they feel the same way. I was blown away by that. $15? Seriously? And I don't know how effective that would be anyway, to put the notes. You know, is the idea here, are there some YouTube content creators that take like 10 or 15 of those deals and they add like 10 or 15 links in their video description, never mention it on air, and then they collect $15 from each one of those so that it adds up to be something, and then that's one video and that's it, no further deal? And then I guess the companies, I mean, I'm just guessing what the logic is here. I guess they look and see how well the link performs, and if it's doing well, then they'll ask you, they'll do it again, and maybe they'll up the money. Or if it doesn't perform well, maybe you never hear from them again. And how would you know? You know what I mean? Because if they don't tell you what the sales are, and if they're not honest with you, they could be raking in all kinds of sales and then tell you, oh, it didn't really work very well for us. Be treated like the Three Stooges, which, squirrel moment, the Three Stooges were taken advantage of by the production company, by the studio director, being led to believe that that the Three Stooges, you know, didn't make much money. Their movies, their little, they used to make these little mini movies that they would put in the front of a feature film. And what was happening is people would go to feature films just to see the Three Stooges, but the Three Stooges didn't know that. The movie company knew it. And so they would have the, you know, like Mo, you know, go get my car washed and get my laundry from the dry cleaner kind of stuff, run errands while they were in, you know, a peak of their popularity around the world. Of course, they didn't have internet to know this. So they got really, really taken advantage of by the movie studio. And of course, once they figured it all out, they were pissed off. So anyway, I don't want to be the Three Stooges. I don't want a company to take advantage like that. And I guess this is what I get for even going down that rabbit hole, because the whole software itself is gray market. So it seems like the people are gray market that deal with it too. And I guess maybe that's a business model to consider if I want to just take on a bunch of links in my video notes and charge $15 for them. And it's in one video out of, you know, over 1,500 videos. I don't know how they expect that to perform. So that was really interesting. I will say that the offers I've received from other gray market sellers was far more generous than that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been talking about it. But I've been turning down, you know, some offers. But you know, $15. I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't even think I could buy a copy of software from them for $15. Maybe they should have offered me like 10 copies of Windows 10 or something. I don't know. They should have come up with a more clever way if that's the way they want to play it. But yeah, this appears to be a downside I hadn't considered, and that is working these deals. I have to work the deals differently. It appears to, when you deal with companies like this, it's all about what you can grab. They're not going to offer you anything, and they're out for themselves. So you have to be out for yourself, or it's a game that isn't going to be a fair playing field. And in which case, you're better off not working with them if you're not willing to do that. So, lesson for me: I'm still I'll entertain other offers, but not a $15 offer. If I have like 10 $15 offers that can all be put in one video, maybe, but just the administrative time to do all that isn't worth $15. Okay, so here's the keyboard in all of its glory, and one more time I'll bring it up and show it to you with all the keycaps installed. I think this is like an $80 keyboard. It's very unusual. It's supposed to be great for gaming. The wrist rest I already covered, that comes off. There's also the little standard stands to pick the back of the keyboard up so it sits at an angle, so you're not typing on a flat keyboard unless you want to. John Young has contributed $15. He says, Here's $15 and I don't even require a link in your video notes. LOL. Well, apparently that's what a link in my video notes is worth, you know, to how many people watch my videos on average? Like if it's not a, if we average out the videos, you know, some have 5,000, 6,000 views. Some of them get to like 10 to 12,000 in the first week. So if we look at the first weeks of views and you're at, let's say, let's call it, let's pick the low end and say 6,000, like a video is just not doing very well for me. I still think $15 is a lowball price, but it doesn't even feel like a price to me. That feels like a morsel. Here, have a morsel. Oh, thanks, you filled me right up. All right, so the keyboard, pretty straightforward. Has a nice sound, has a nice feel, has a nice look. Let's see what it looks like when it's plugged in and how it works. They give you a nice Velcro wire management strap attached to the cable, so you won't lose it. I'll just plug it in right up here, and we should see it light up. I think there it goes. You can't really see it with all these lights. I need to turn some lights down so you guys can see. Let's cut these main lights, and let's cut this main light, and let's cut that light, and let's see if that looks any better on camera. Kinda. Let me cut the last light, because the cameras like light. In order for the camera to see the less bright light, it needs to be the brightest light. So we're going to go real dark, and let's see if we can see any better. All right, so there's the front and the sides. The sides light up too. I guess this is good if you type at night. And I think you should be able to turn this RGB off if it bothers you, but I don't see a button on the keyboard for it. Maybe, let's see, is that? I'm just gonna start hitting buttons. Oh, that one brings up the calculator. That's muting audio. The last one is calculator. What's this one? Oh, that brings, okay, so these two right here are volume up and down. And again, I haven't installed any software. Oh, I see. Volume up, volume down, volume mute, and then calculator. Interesting. That's an interesting set of options there on the keyboard. Everything else should be standard, so I'm not quite sure where the... Well, I'm gonna have to turn the lights on so I can look at it. But it's a nice looking keyboard. But the color, all that RGB would drive me crazy if I'm in a dark room, because that's all I'm gonna see. So let's bring the studio lights back on. And you know, there's probably some software to download, I'm guessing. I don't know. Let's just take a look at it this way. Move my other keyboard out of the way here. Ooh, it feels nice and solid. I like that. The keyboard has a very, it doesn't feel like you can flex it at all. Okay, so let's close that and that. I'm closing all the calculators that I opened. I opened a lot of them. Okay, I don't see an RGB light. I see a right click. There's a button down here by the control panel for right click. There's a function button. Aha, function. What does function do? Normally, if a key has a secondary function, you hit the function button. Like when you look at the number 1, it's got an exclamation point. So if you hold shift and the number 1, you don't get the number 1, you get the other thing the key does. And on this keyboard, it's got a FN. So FN is function, and you'll see that on a lot of laptops. But no secondary option is listed. So let's see, what is this? Apparently this is the documentation, and I will bring this up so you guys can scan the QR code to bring up the documentation. If you have your phone with you, you can literally scan that code with your phone. Now the back side is not really very helpful to me. Can anybody read that? I guess it's made in France. No, just kidding. Okay, rkgaming.com is what they say the website is. So maybe I'll start there, because it looks like I'm going to need to have some documentation. So I'll just type on this keyboard, rkgaming. Wow, these keys, they go a long way down. I'm not used to that. With this keyboard here, these keys don't move very far. Nothing wrong with it, I'm just not used to that. It's more of a full stroke key press. Okay, so rkgaming.com, and they have a number of keyboards here. And let's see what they have under download. I know I want the manual, but what do they call this one? This is called, I know it says KLUDGE, but does it have a number? It's the ROYALKLUDGE, ladies and gentlemen. RK68, no, it's none of those. RK61 driver, I don't know what that is. None of this appears to be for this keyboard. Yeah, all right, well, I'm gonna just go to the manual, and we'll look up the documentation for the ROYALKLUDGE. Website's a bit slow, so bear with me. Well, we're waiting. I'll just take a look in the chat room and see what's going on. Madi contributes $10. Thank you to Madi Yoel. He says, hey, Carey, I had to stop to see you from Milwaukee. Hi, Chet. How? I hope you're enjoying Milwaukee. Madi? Weather should be getting warmer about now, I would guess. Abdul Azim Patel with $14.99. He says, here's $14.99 because I'm on my phone. I guess on the phone it doesn't round it to zeros. But there's another $15 when I didn't have to add a link to my video notes. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. Now, let's see if the website came up. No, it's still spinning. I don't know what it's doing. Let's go back to the home page. This isn't promising. Okay, so back at the home page, I'll click on the manual. Now it came up really quick. Bluetooth wired. These are all models. They're like RKG87, RK. So I guess RK is ROYALKLUDGE or Kludge, and then there's a model number somewhere. So I'm just going to look for a model number. Model S108 is what it says. Right next to where it says made in China. S108. I see a 918. Is it supposed to be a 918? It says S108. It's clearly an S. I don't know. Function and escape says press for 3 seconds to restore factory settings. Function and delete is the RGB backlight mode. Now, I'm not on the right keyboard for this, but I'm going to assume the controller chip they use is the same on all their RGB keyboards. So I'll hit function, and I realize you can't see anything I'm doing now because I've got all this other stuff in the way. How rude of me. Okay, what'd I say? Function and delete. Function and delete. That seems to be doing nothing at all. Oh, that's not the function button. That's the Windows key. My bad. That's the Windows key. Function button's over here. Function delete. Okay. It's definitely making a change to the RGB. Whoa. Let me turn the lights back off now that I can demonstrate this. Making some progress here. Okay. All right. Welcome to Computers in the Dark with your host, Creepy Carey. I'm sure that's not going to cause anybody any seizures. Okay, but now I can't see where's my function. So function and delete. Wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. Am I not hitting the function button? Okay, so this is the function button down here with my thumb, and delete is down here. And function here's another one.
Here we go.
Whoops, I dropped it. So here's another mode that it does, which I don't know why. Marty says, it's my laptop. Marty was complaining he can't figure out how to get the RGB off on his laptop. Function delete again. That just seems to light it up without any movement. I mean, how many times do I have to hit this for it to turn off? Function delete again. And it just seems to shift, the colors start moving a little slower. And function delete again. And now, I'm not sure what's going on there. I guess it's just sort of breathing different colors, a little more subtle. Function delete again. Okay, that's different. Half the keyboard moving in one direction and the other half of the keyboard moving the other direction. A lot of different modes. Function delete. What's this one do? Whoa. Wow. That's something. All right, let's go function delete. This is weird. Sort of twinkling. Function delete. Gosh darn it. When I hit the wrong button with delete, it's trying to remove the video input source off of OBS. There's another mode. Function delete. I wish this had its own proprietary button. It looks like something you'd see on a sci-fi TV show. Function delete. I don't know if we've repeated yet. I don't know that we've gone around in a full circle yet. Just chasing LEDs across the rows of the keys. Okay, function delete. I'm just gonna keep cycling. The hits just keep on coming, but wait, there's more. Function delete. How many of these modes does this thing have? Function delete. All right, now I know we've seen this one before. So are we going back around now? Yeah, so okay. So now I don't know how to turn it off. Maybe function end? No. Function page down? No. Function insert? Oh. What's happening there? Function insert. I guess that's how you can make it one static color. Function insert. Wait, what? Oh, freaky. So when I push down a button, then the keyboard starts reacting to that. Every time you hit a key, it responds. I've never seen that action before. What else? Function insert. It's doing the same thing. So when you press a key, then it responds. Function insert. It just seems to be different modes of how it reacts. That one, I guess, lights up whatever row. Function insert. Trying to see if you can see all the colors. It just looks white. Then the key itself lights up around the key when you press it. My hand is probably in the way to see that. Function insert. It seems like we're right back. Interesting. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Function. Aha. That's the function in the home key, which is causing the keyboard to breathe in one static color. Function home. We're getting all the rainbow of colors there. Whoa. It's pulsing. Freaky. Each key is breathing a different series of colors independently. It's pretty interesting. Function home. I think we're back around on this one. Function page up and page down are also having an impact. That's just changing the side lighting. Function page down. Function page down. Huh. I don't see anything that turns it off. Let me go back to the manual. Let's see what it says. Interactive backlight mode, support for 5 modes. RGB backlight mode, support for 11 RGB modes. Backlight breathing mode, backlight color switching. Increase and decrease the brightness with the function and up and down arrows. So obviously up would increase the brightness, function down arrow reduces it, function left reduces the speed at which it's moving, and function right will increase the speed in which it's moving. But where do I turn it off? Custom backlight mode supports 5 sets of custom backlight switching. When press function end, the full keyboard goes out. When number key backlight lights up, indicate the first set of light recording modes has been entered. Press function end again, and the number key 2, and the backlight will light up, indicate entering the second set of lighting recording modes, and so on. And you can custom you can record the settings for how you want it backlit using function and a picture of a disk. I don't think this keyboard has that. So I'm looking at another keyboard because I didn't see this one on the list. But let's just try function up, function down. Ah, Okay. If you turn the brightness all the way down, it's off. So function 1 up, okay. And then that, and then let's go to the, okay, so let's say I thought that was moving too quickly. I should be able to go to function, slow it down. Oh no, that's speeding it up. Let's go this way. And then let's lower the brightness. That's the lowest setting. To the brightest. You know, if it was on its lowest setting, I think I could live with it. Slow that down. Okay. I'm just playing over here. You believe they pay me for this? Well, that's not true. You pay me for this. These people didn't pay me anything. They don't even know who I am, but I'll share the video with them. Function. Where's function? And let's do another different mode here. See, like that would be cool if it was faster. Let's make it faster. Oh, yeah. And then function, we bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Right there, that'd be the lowest. Okay, I can see why somebody would like this. It's got a lot going for it. Let's talk about that for a minute. Oh, there's another feature it's got that I like. You don't have to remove the palm rest or the wrist rest. It just folds underneath the keyboard and acts as a support. That's a great idea. You know what? I really like to see innovation. I like to see an original idea. And I have, you know, there might be keyboards that have done this before, but I like how the wrist rest folds underneath and it supports, if I get the cable out of the way, you'll see that it supports the keyboard completely flat like that. And I've got the legs down on the keyboard. So if I raise the legs up, the keyboard still sits flat. That's impressive. All right. Now, some of you ask if I know how to type. And, you know, I've been working with computers for over 30 years, so I've had my hands on a keyboard or two. When I went to high school, is that a squirrel? When I went to high school, they taught typing, and I took a typing class with an electric typewriter, and they taught you to put your first 4 fingers of both hands on ASDF in the middle, and JKL apostrophe semicolon with your right hand. Your thumb is either left or right. You can use for space bar, and the idea was to require you to type with your hands on what we call home row. And so the J key and the F key, they have a little raise on them. And some of you may not know what that's for. And that's so a typist can feel like I can just look right at you and I can find home row on this keyboard. And now I'm on home row. Now, I'm going to show you something that will either impress you or annoy you. Either way, I win. But let's go to the window capture. Let me add, oh no, let me edit it so I can show you. I'll open Notepad so you can watch me type. Is this Notepad? I think this is Notepad. All right, let's open, where did it go? All right, so here's what I'll do. I'm going to move this right. How can I do this where you can't really see? I guess I'm gonna have to do it the other way. So we'll go full screen on this one. And then I have to move this item all the way up. Sorry, I'm configuring OBS, you know, it's live, what do you want? I'll put it right there, and now I can take myself, put myself here like this. In fact, I'll just come right down here. So anyway, learning how to type in high school. Prior to that, I would just do what we call hunt and peck, which is you look at the keyboard and you find the letter you want and you press it. A friend of mine would look at the keyboard, he'd find like, he was a little more efficient, he'd find like the next 3 or 4 buttons he needed to hit. So he'd see the F, the O, the U, and the R, let's just say, and he'd go like that. He'd slam it down, which I think is hilarious. And I guess I haven't selected the keyboard because nothing is appearing. All right, I realize that this is going to be a challenge for me now because I can't have 2 windows in focus at the same time. All right, so the idea when you learn to type using home row is that you can transcribe a document that you're reading. You see, before we had computers, you would either use a Xerox machine, for example, a copy machine. See, there's a good example of marketing. I just referred to a generic copy machine as a Xerox machine. Good for Xerox. You know, there's so many squirrels. I'm trying to deal with this as best I can. So you would often transcribe either entire documents or pieces of documents by creating a new document, by just reading what it says and typing it as you read it. So you can't be constantly turning your head to find where you're, you know, if you're doing this, and then turn around and find your spot on the page. Hey, we're paying you by the hour here. Come on, let's go. This guy over here is doing 10 pages a minute. You're on page 1, it's still been 10 minutes. So, so you learn to put your hands on your fingers on, someone in the chat just said home row. Yeah, home row. And if you wanted to learn where every single key was in the alphabet, then you would type the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dogs, or jumps over the lazy dog. I think that's got all the letters. I mean, I think I'm remembering that quickly. So here's what I'm gonna do. I was gonna stare right at you, but I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna put my hands on home row. I'll turn my head way up so you know I'm not cheating. And I'm gonna type the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs. I'm gonna go a little bit slower than I normally would. And this is a keyboard I've never used before, so I don't know where's shift. It's right there, okay. I wasn't sure where shift was. Okay, so, because I wanna put a capital T in the. So the quick brown, yeah, see I felt that in fox, jump over the lazy dogs. And if I wanted to do it quick without punctuation, I'm gonna have a lot more errors. Hold on, let me start again. Is this going? Yeah, it's going. This keyboard is, whoa, I don't even know what I did there. Everything changed on my screen. It sounded good though. So if I slow down and I really focus, I know T-H-E space Q-U-I-C-K space F-O-X, that's easy. J-U-M-P-S, that's easy. O-V-E-R, easy. T-H-E-L-A-Z-Y. I have a problem with Y. I got short fingers, so I gotta. Sometimes I hit Y with the left hand. I can't figure out which one feels better. They both feel weird. D-O-G-S. Did I get any typos? All right. So imagine you practice that, I don't know, 1, 2, 300 million times. the more you do it, and sometimes I'm hitting two keys and I can feel it, and I know I've made a mistake without not even looking at the screen. Look, my eyes is closed. I always have a problem with B. B is another one of those keys. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hit it with my left hand or my right. I think the right hand is supposed to do N, but sometimes I use the right. Man, I really struggle with that Y though. It's equal distance. I keep opening up stuff on Windows. And I've closed the YouTube page. Hey, you know what? With my eyes closed, I was doing perfect. It wasn't until I opened my eyes that I realized how many mistakes I made. Well, if that ain't a metaphor for life, I don't know what is. Okay, let me go back to my live feed. What is wrong with me? Just saying, I want to show you how a real keyboard test. Like if you're somebody who likes to type, as most people on the internet are keen to do, you'll care less and less how much the keyboard, what it looks like, rather than how it feels. DOS keyboard made a mechanical keyboard with blank keys. So if you didn't know where the keys were, this keyboard was not for you. All right, so I'm back in the chat room, and Tim Malaki has contributed $5 Australian. You know what? It just cleared out my whole history here. Darn it. So now I can't see prior contributions. Madi with $5 says, keep it up. You're doing good, bro. Hey, thank you, Madi. Gonna win my own typing competition. Okay, so let me try this again. I really should be using a different computer for this very reason. Yeah, where's my notepad? There it is. So again, if you were to just keep practicing, and you don't have to practice for an hour, you just, when you get a moment, if you want to learn to type, this is how you do it. You take your 4 fingers on your left, you put it on ASDF, and feel the little raised area on that F key with your left first finger. Right hand, first 4 fingers, JKL and semicolon. It's very comfortable. And then you will type JKL apostrophe, JKL apostrophe, and then you do ASDF, ASDF. These are exercises that get you to memorize where those keys are. Eventually, when you feel like it, you can start using every key in the keyboard. And again, I have to count this, but I think every letter is here. So now I'm watching the screen while I'm typing. And I'm doing what I call my hybrid version. You'll see my hands are not in the proper home row, but I always return there, and I'm able to very quickly hover my hands over the keyboard without, you know, anchoring the rest of my fingers to home row, which is, in typing, the one finger that you're not using to type should be remaining on home row. That's what they taught me anyway. But you'll notice, like when I was just typing that, my hands go, they hover. Let's see it again. Now, you see I can grab that backspace key so quick. All right, so A, the first letter is A in the alphabet. B, B, and then C, there's C, and then D, that's over here, and E right next to it, and F is right here. G is over here. H is here. I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, that's all in there. Now let's get out our crayons and paper. Sorry. I didn't mean to be condescending, but I think there's honestly people who are completely unaware of that. So for those of you who already knew it, good for you. And for those of you who didn't, you're welcome. It's a nice keyboard. Let me get a link for it. So I'm going to let me generate a link here. Rats. Amazon's being difficult with me today. Well, I have to go to the other room to use a different computer to create the link. So I hope if you want to buy one that you'll use my link, because I make a small commission if you use my link and you buy anything from Amazon, and I would appreciate that. One of the things when I talk about keyboards, in fact, let me close this out and go back to full screen. When I talk about gaming keyboards and how you know, a lot of people who call themselves gamers will buy very gaming specific hardware that is supposed to increase their, I don't know, gaming capabilities. For me, my opinion on this subject is those things don't make you a better gamer. And if you're ever going to be in a professional gaming tournament, you're going to use whatever keyboard, mouse, or whatever they're giving you for a controller, the same as everybody else in the tournament. So we can not say, well, this person has better hardware than the other person. It's not a fair match. So if you actually sincerely want to get better at the game, you should buy the worst keyboard you can possibly use for like a year. It's sort of like if you've driven when you learn to drive, you should drive the biggest car possible. That should be what you learn to drive in, and you should drive in it for months. Then when you go take your driver's test, you should take it in the smallest car possible. And then, of course, hopefully you end up somewhere in the middle or whatever you want, really. But more squirrels. The point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of different versions of switches and how much pressure they take to push down that people make a big deal about. And I understand the importance of anti-ghosting technology, which I think this keyboard has as a gaming keyboard. Prevents like it's like a stuttering effect of a key when you let it go and it's still like buffering. When I buy a keyboard, I really don't care if it's flat like this, or if it's mechanical or membrane, or if it's a hybrid. That doesn't matter to me. What I care about is my enter or return button. I'm from a day when that was called return, because it returned the carriage return on the typewriter. The thing that tick, 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 zzzt. All right, so that's a carriage return. Is that a carriage return? Well, it's called a carriage return. And it's also called enter. So with the age of computer, they changed it to enter. And on the early keyboards, that enter key was 5 times larger than any other key on your keyboard. It was huge. It basically took up this entire space. This button and this button would be one button called enter. Huge. And then up here by the delete key, Some manufacturers would put your backslash, other manufacturers would put it down here. This drove me crazy. The location of the keys is critical for me and how I know how to type. It doesn't matter to me how easy or how soft the keys are to press down. And when I say I'm talking about even when I'm gaming. When I'm gaming, which by the way I haven't done in a long time, but I didn't when I was playing these games, Unreal Tournament, and I'm thinking of, like, I played a lot of stuff on the Xbox 360, but the last game I played on the PC was probably like Unreal Tournament. So go ahead and get your laughs out of the way. It's fine. But it is kind of funny. But it's true. And it didn't matter to me playing Unreal Tournament that how my keyboard felt. It was the last thing on my mind, honestly. What mattered is where are the arrow keys, right? And I would configure up, down, left, and right to be up, down, left, and right. Or so I like to make down, up, and I like to make up, down. So when I push the down button, I want it to, I want it to act like a plane, right? When you pull back on the yoke of a plane, it lifts off. So I like the down to be up, the up to be down. And then I like control to be fire and alt to be jump. So basically I'm only using 4 fingers to game, and that's it. And it doesn't matter to me about all this other stuff. And they have all these mice, they have these mice that have all these buttons that you can program for the game. And, somehow I was able to just kick people's butts with a regular mouse. So, so for me, how the keyboard looks and how it feels isn't very important. What's important is where are the location of the keys. Has the manufacturer either removed they don't remove keys, but they would sometimes minimize the size of a key, or sometimes they move it to a different location, as I mentioned with the backslash and even the enter key. And if I'm used to hitting like tilde is usually to the left of it's the first key on the keyboard on modern keyboards, but on some keyboards tilde is way on the other side after 0 on the upper row. Stuff like that drives me crazy because it's uncommon. So this is the most common layout of keyboard that I see every day in my life. Those Microsoft ergonomic ones where everything's twisted, hate those. Those especially because they force you to type with home row. I can't even do my hybrid thing. It's absolutely maddening. So the location of the keys is, for me, far more critical than the amount of pressure. So just clear the space on that one. It should leave no questions. And I leave you the argument that you should buy a keyboard you like because you like it. Not because you think it's going to give you an edge. I mean, if that's the thing you like about it, I guess it's okay. But what I'm saying is, for me, and again, not many people are ever going to see this, right? It's not like I'm having a lot of people come over and they go, wow, that's a pretty nice keyboard you got there. If I had like an office with a reception area, this would be kind of cool to put on display. If I was, somewhere a bit more public, if I was taking my computer with me to, old-fashioned game in local game, LAN parties like we used to have, this would be kind of a cool thing to have, to just sort of be like, yeah, I'll just set my rig up over here. This guy's unloading his compact. This guy's over here unloading his gateway. And you just pull this thing out and set it down, and you're like, okay, and you're just getting your station ready. And I get that. I totally get it. But how often does that happen in your life? So when you're looking at a keyboard, the number one concern for most people is how it feels. And there's no way for me to recommend a keyboard to you because I don't know what feels good to you or what feels bad. Nobody does. That's just something you uniquely know. And you might share that information with people you know, whether or not they care. But some YouTube guy or gal or blogger or Redditor, how can they tell you what something feels like? Like, for you to fully understand it, you just have to experience it. So when it comes to keyboards, I generally recommend for most users that you just go to a store where there's keyboards on display and kind of play type on the display models and see which one feels the best and looks the best and has the best price. And that's the one you should buy. For me, I will buy keyboards on Amazon the same way I buy socks. I don't know if I'm going to like these socks or not. They're too inexpensive for me to send back if I don't like them, so I can donate them somewhere. Well, I buy a number of keyboards until I find one I like, and then when I found the one I liked, which I talked about in a previous video, the Corsair K55, I'm not looking anymore. It's perfect. It does everything I need. And when it comes to these little keyboards you see me use on the live stream, these are great bench keyboards because they don't take up a lot of space on your bench. As you can see from my single bench, it's already a little overcrowded. When you're working in a professional shop, this area that I'm standing behind, and I guess this is a piece of trivia many of you are not aware of because it didn't occur to me to bring it up. This represents the average workbench that I worked at as a computer technician. When I walked into a computer repair shop that I worked at, there were tables, or we called them benches, and they were about this long and they were about this wide, and there was like, in a small office, they would typically line the walls with them, right? So that it wouldn't be open on both sides. And in a larger office, they would align the walls with them and then have some in the middle. So we're looking at, a small office might have, I'm trying to picture it in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A small office might have like 7 benches. So while you're thinking, you're seeing a guy standing behind a counter because you used to see me stand behind my kitchen counter. Well, guess what? The kitchen counter is about the same dimension. My kitchen island counter is about the same dimension as a standard technician workbench in the industry. So it was very natural for me to go to that because I'm used to working on a table about this big, and I've got one in my kitchen. It's called the kitchen island, and it's really well lit. I mean, of all the rooms in the house, it's probably the brightest. It definitely has the most food in it. Now, when I would get used to keyboards, like you didn't have a choice. When the IBM PC came out, the home PC, you just sort of had this traditional IBM, You know what? Maximum PC just brought this up because they were reviewing the retro keyboards, but you didn't have a choice back then. If you wanted a keyboard, that's the one you got. So it kind of is, it's a little amusing to me what your choices on keyboards are and how finicky people can be over things I've never even thought of, when they complain about the feel of the switch. That's just, I don't know, it's a little lunacy to me. But here, it's the IBM Model M 1990, which is that classic, if you've been around PCs for a long time, look at the size of the Enter key. It's actually installed vertically, which is interesting. And, I have accountants that are like, Carey, if you can find me those keyboards, I will buy them from you. They're scouring eBay trying to find them. They still all pretty much work great today. The build quality on those was not comparable to today's build quality. Planet Cryos contributes $5. He says, I'll stick with my poking style. And Juan the Panda contributes $2 and says, doesn't RGB make a better gamer? Yes, that's true. You can add 10% to your gaming prowess by going RGB. Level up with RGB. Yeah, that should be their slogan. And them and the heroin dealer. So the keyboard, getting back to the keyboard, they don't give me any instructions. Let me think about some things to complain about. Well, the media keys, nice choice. No, I'm trying to find something to complain about. I don't really care for the font on the key. You have this big key, right? I'm going to exaggerate, but you got this big key, and then they have a little tiny font of like the letter that the key represents, right in that top 1/3. Then 2/3 of the key is blank. Can't I have a great big, and I'm getting older and I'm not seeing as well, but I would like it better. And again, the keycaps can be replaced, so it's not like this is an impossible thing to ask. But you know, when you look at a traditional keyboard, this keyboard is not a good example. The keys are usually large and smack dab in the middle of the keycap. And these keys in this light, they just look all black, which is fine. I know where the keys are. And if I kind of stare at it and my eyes adjust, I can barely see that it's a very faded font. It's not, you know, if the font size wasn't so small, I wouldn't care about it being faded. But because it's faded and small, well, you know why it's faded? Because it's see-through. The letter is see-through, and I have dimmed the RGB. If we bring the RGB back up, well, it's still difficult to read because depending on the color, some colors are brighter than others, and some letters I can see clearer than others. So if I try and turn this off, if I just turn all that off, well, now it's all completely black. So that didn't work. Okay, so as long as you know where the keys are, or you have better sight, and my sight is almost perfect. It's just when stuff's really close up, and it's tiny. Okay, so the font, the way they did the font on the keycaps, I don't like, but I don't know if they sell keycap kits where you could potentially just buy a whole new keycap kit and still keep your same style, you know, if you like that typewriter style. I have to look into that. I was going to complain about the way that the wrist rest was so difficult to get on, but now that I realize it was really never supposed to come off. It was banged up in shipping, and I just realized it's such a great idea to have that wrist rest fold up like that. And the keyboard has a very solid feel, and the RGB on the sides is really stupid, so I like that. Yeah, when something's just over the top stupid, gotta have it. What else? I don't know if this is at all waterproof. It would concern me if I were to spill something on this because of the RGB. Not that it's really is using much more current than a regular keyboard. It should be 5 volts running through here. I would have to, let's see. I don't see anything about its waterproofing. If it's got any sort of water resistance, I don't know, but I would certainly keep liquids away from it. I like that you wouldn't be able to really worry about dropping crumbs if you're like me and you like to eat crackers directly over your keyboard. Give me just a second. Give me just a second here, guys. Okay. So, where was I? Planet Cryos contributed $5. He says, when will come the day gamers will wear RGB clothing too? LOL. I think that there is RGB clothing. I know I've seen some at Burning Man. Thanks for the contribution. Does anybody have any questions about the keyboard? I guess I can Google it. Michael Dane says he just spent over $1,000 in my name. Wow, that's cool. Thank you. Look at the chat room flying. Holy smokes. Anybody got anything to say? Planet Cryos contributes $5 in the mayhem. He says, oh, well, it seems to be catching up is what it's doing. I see. This is interesting. It appears YouTube has buffered the chat room and it's now catching up to me. I've never seen it do that. So I was thinking the YouTube was going, the chat room was like, everybody was all talking and it was like pretty exciting. And it turns out it was just a buffer. Just a browser cache because I had the window minimized. So, okay, that's new. Haven't seen that before. It was kind of exciting. Does the keyboard come with sunglasses? It does not, but you can adjust the brightness of the keyboard, not of the potential purchaser. Other questions? Which keyboard am I using? Well, I've been trying to figure that out. It's listed, or it's called on the box, it's called ROYALKLUDGE Keyboard. It's not given any specific model number whatsoever. I'm looking all over the box. Well, the shipping label is covering up what may be some other information. I don't know what it's called. Let's see if I go to Amazon, which is where I purchased it, and I look up the ROYALKLUDGE. Okay, they make a lot of keyboards. I'll just look through the pictures until I see this one. Should be a typewriter style, ROYALKLUDGE typewriter style keyboard. Yeah, this is it. 80 bucks, just like I said. Looking for a model number, and I still don't see any. I don't see any model number at all. They tell me more on the Amazon page than the manual did. I can try and get you guys a link to this. Maybe. I have to go through a two-factor authentication process to log into Amazon so I can make you guys the link. So I finally have done that, and now I can post that in the chat room. I will say the depth or the throw of the keys is quite a bit while standing with a counter of this height. For me, this keyboard would have to be mounted a bit lower for it to be comfortable, because I've grown accustomed to the shallow nature of these keys. And you'll see that from hitting the button to being fully depressed, it maybe moves a quarter of an inch. On this keyboard, on the other hand, sorry, not a quarter, that's moving like an eighth. And that's moving, I would say, half an inch. Yeah. So the throw on them was much longer, much, much longer. So for me, I was just typing on that and I realized that it would be a lot more comfortable if the keyboard were lower. And I was just trying to figure out in my head why that was. So there we go, all figured out. And like I said, you're going to learn more on the Amazon page about this keyboard than the website. And the website's sorting through its keyboards by model number, but I don't see a model number for this listed anywhere. Ghost Shadow contributes $2 and said, "Did you get that extended car warranty?" What's that about? Master Singleton contributes $5 Australian and says, "What mechanical keys is this keyboard using?" Let's see what Amazon's page says about that. Clicky mechanical blue switches. Mechanical blue switch for ultimate gaming performance. The mechanical keys offer medium resistance, audible click sound, and tactile feedback. See, told you Amazon's page had a lot more information on this keyboard than the website does. I may cut this video a bit short because it's occurring to me that my intent when I started this video was to get to work on this stuff to my left, your right, my left. And I thought, let me just do this keyboard review. It'll just take a minute. How much could there possibly be to talk about? And now I'm into this an hour and a half, and I'm thinking, this video needs to stop here. It needs to be titled correctly, that this is the keyboard review. I need to change the thumbnail on it. I need to take all this information from this live feed and start it again so I can start that work. I really have a squirrel problem. I'm really gonna have to have that taken care of. I have to call some pest control. This keyboard has been sitting for some time, and I keep meaning to want to review it. And every time I walk by it, it just bothers me that I haven't done it yet. And I thought, let me just throw it in. I'll do a quick overview of it and then get to work. And I started liking it. I got truly interested in it. If you watch sometimes when I review things, I'm going to give off an air of this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, and move on as quickly as I can onto another subject. That is how I started this review, right? Let me just get this thing out of the way. Let me just, standard boilerplate. It's a keyboard. Here's what it looks like. And then I'm looking at it and I'm using it. And I was interested. I was genuinely like, well, as much as the RGB bothers me, as long as the patterns kept changing, I was going to look at every damn pattern there was. If there were 7,500 patterns on this keyboard, differing patterns, you and I would still be looking at them all because my OCD would not have let it go until I saw every one of them. And I guess if there's one thing I have to say, no matter what my minor complaints with the fonts might be, the fact that it has successfully interested me so genuinely with its design may be sort of the highest of accolades when you think about it. Or not. I'm not positive on that one. But yeah, I'm glad that I got this. I'm glad I had a chance to review it. Am I going to use it? No, I'm not going to use it. This will be like a backup keyboard. I don't have an office computer here. I work off of a laptop, and the laptop keyboard is fine. And the keyboards I need here on the workbench, they have to be small so they don't take up too much space. And I prefer that they're wireless, including, when I hook up a keyboard to a test system. Imagine if I had a keyboard this size hooked up here, a keyboard this size hooked up there. There's not a whole lot of room left on the bench. So it's impractical for me to use, but I wouldn't have any problem using it if I had a reason to. But I would definitely turn the RGB off while I was using it, and then I would probably be in moods sometimes where I would just fluctuate through the RGB and kind of look at it, or if it's in a room and I'm sitting across from the room and I want to look at that as a piece of art. But to have it on while I'm typing it's too distracting for me personally. Go Shadow contributes $5 and says, going to test programming your own patterns in keyboard. It's supposed to do that. Madi says, review is a good review and contributes $5. Okay. You can program. Am I actually going to do this? You can program each individual key. So it says press F function and then the number 1 to start. That starts customize mode. Press function 11 to start recording the LED lights of backlight. The caps, win, and scroll lock keys are flashing. Function F11. Function F11. Okay, yeah, it's doing it. Press any key by any need to LED on off. Press same key multiple times to change its color. So let's make home row its own color, but nothing's happening. There's no color happening. Press any key to turn any LED on or off. And it says function F11 to save. Okay, that worked. I'm missing a step here. There seems to be a step missing. Not quite sure, but yes, if you have all day and that's important to you, and you want to spend your precious time here on Earth configuring the individual keycap, if you want to make, like WS and AD, if you want to make those a different color, you want your shift keys to be yellow and your vowels to be blue. Hey, look, that's your thing, man. It doesn't seem very productive. However, if that's what you enjoy, don't let me get in your way. But yes, apparently you can do that with the keyboard. The documentation is obviously quite weak. I'm still having trouble locating the model number, and I didn't see anything that looked like it on the website, but I just did a cursory glance, so I don't know if it was right in front of me and I didn't see it. That's quite possible. I think for $80, I feel like it's a get what you pay for keyboard. It's not a super expensive feeling keyboard. It's also not a cheap feeling keyboard. It feels like an $80 keyboard, and this, in my opinion, should be an $80 keyboard. I'll even go further to say, if this keyboard ever goes on sale under $80, I think it's a no-brainer if you like that cap style and you like the long throw of the keys. With regards to the RGB, I mean, maybe that's the reason itself. I guess whatever reason you use to buy a keyboard is the valid one. But yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to stop this video here, and we're just going to call this the review of the ROYALKLUDGE or the ROYALKLUDGE, and I will add a link to it to the video notes. I have to change the video title and change the thumbnail. Again, my apologies. This is what can happen on a live video. So I intend to get that done and then come back if I can to start on this. Otherwise, I'll be doing it tomorrow. So hopefully I will see you guys here very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.